Hello, this is Dave Michaels from Talking Points. Today we've got a really interesting conversation. Before I introduce my cast of characters here, I want to just explain that this is a fantastic use case. It's a triple play because it talks about teams, it talks about contact centers, it talks about SIM-based mobility, and this is a triple play, and I guess you could even argue a quadruple play, but we'll get here in just a moment. Let me start off with introducing Giddy Aldersberg. Hello, Giddy. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Great to be here. I'm great. Looking forward to this session.
I am too. You are heading the VOCA business line at Audiocodes, and Audiocodes is a underlying enabling star of this story. We have three products here: Mobile Connect, CIC, and Teams. Now we all know Teams, but why don't you explain the other two, Giddy?
Yeah, sure. So VOCA CIC, just a contact center as a service solution entirely built for Microsoft Teams. And then the eSIM that acts as a bridge between VOCA CIC to the Microsoft Teams user. Essentially, the easy way that I like to put it, just bringing customer experience capabilities over mobile.
We've got with us a fantastic spokesman from the University of Central Florida, Keith Honecker. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. I've spoken to you before, and this is just an amazing use case. You are, or you were, way back in the olden days, you were the contact center architect, but now you are the automation manager at the University of Central Florida, and but you've put together a lot of these pieces here, so we're really anxious to hear about that. Why don't you start off with just a brief introduction of the University of Central Florida, the Knights. Tell us about the Knights.
Sure. So the University of Central Florida is here in Orlando, Florida, obviously. We are roughly 67 to 70,000 students. We have around 13 to 14,000 employees. We spread across 4 major campuses in the metro area here in Orlando. We have everything. So I know we're a college campus, but it's obviously we consider ourselves a small city. I'll say that.
And when you first used that expression that it was a small city, I was thinking that's just a silly way to describe a university. But the more that we talked, the more that made a lot of sense. Why don't you explain why you use that term?
Well, we have multiple clients. I mean, I work for the university's IT department. So if you're on campus here or you're dealing with this, you're probably one of my customers, right? So again, we have various businesses. I mean, I don't want to name them here, but we have various businesses on campus. Coffee shops, pizza places, other food places. I mean, we have also small private businesses here on campus who are all seeking network connectivity, phone connectivity. So we have to consider all those different types of personas, but as well as think about it, we have our own police department. It's a state certified police department. This is not a security team. This is not a security office. This is a state board governed police department. Their jurisdiction is not just the campus. It's from wherever they live to campus. They're not county police. Again, they're state police. So we've got them. We've got a whole medical college, where we deal with doctors and they have their practices. And that was one of the things that when we got the College of Medicine, we had to set up doctors in the area to practice. That's part of having accreditation. So when you're talking about, we have general counsel. I've got lawyers here. So, I've got law, I've got Rosen School of Hospitality and everything that they're doing in regards to teaching students and about, customer service, hotels, everything hospitality, right? And then we talk about all those different personas, then you talk about all the support personnel who deal with all those different partners, right? So again, it is a small city. I mean, at any given point, there's easily over 100,000 people here on campus. I mean, in just our tenant alone, we have over 145,000 users. So it's a small city.
And you're also running a housing sector in your little city. You've got that.
That's right.
You've got utilities and streets and all kinds of, when I say utilities, power and trash removal and all that stuff.
Our entire facilities department. Yep, absolutely.
An entire a police department. A lot of people don't realize universities have bona fide police departments, not security, but police.
Absolutely.
So a lot going on there. Now, your campus is running Microsoft Teams today, campus-wide, a pretty major implementation for that. I guess you're using it for distance learning and all kinds of stuff. So before you had Teams, what were you doing at the university there for communications?
It was primarily Skype for Business. We can thank COVID for that. It forced us to go to Skype for Business because that was our, quote unquote, remote solution we had to go through. And so that kind of led us into, well, what is our architecture like? And so that's what led us down the path of SBCs and SBAs, and
that's how you met Audiocodes.
Absolutely. We've been a partner with Audiocodes for a number of years, but that's really when it started to kind of flourish, is when we were really relied on them to build a complete star mesh network of our voice architecture, which was, again, deploying SBCs on site, but also in the cloud. Remember, we have 4 major campuses, so they need to have, sustained survivability at those locations. So that's when we're also looking at SBAs. So again, SBCs, SBAs, I'm sorry for the acronyms. It's just easier to say SBC and SBA for sure.
Well, there's certainly the old Audiocodes a lot of people know, and that's probably, I guess you could say the SBCs come out of there. But the new Audiocodes, a lot of people don't know, which is things like the contact center, CIC, which is what Giddy's involved in. But also this mobile extend product we're going to talk about. But it seems like Audiocodes has been pretty central. So did you have a contact center before on Skype for Business, or did you, or tell me how you got to CIC?
No, we were using response groups. It was a nightmare. It was again, Skype for Business did what it needed to do in a short period of time, but we were desperate for a system. And so that's when we were looking at, okay, how can we, first of all, we were going to move off of Skype for Business. We knew that. So we had to fast track that. So then we started looking at, okay, if we do this, what kind of contact center are we going to focus on? Voice is easy, but we have over 40 contact centers here on campus. We have different flavors of contact centers as well. You think about all the different personas I just mentioned. Well, we also have that many personas when it comes to contact center. So it had to be custom, it had to scale. And while we're talking about SBCs, the Voca dev team was like, hey, by the way, we've got this new product called Voca. And I was like, I'm listening. So again, when they first came to us and approached us, we were like, it integrates with Teams. It's native, built in Azure. It's got all my security, riding on the Microsoft network. It only makes sense. So
Giddy, let me ask you about that, Giddy, because a lot of people do not associate Microsoft Teams with contact centers, nor do they associate Audiocodes with contact centers. And somehow you've managed to overcome both of those barriers. Keith said he's got something like 40 contact centers on campus. Is Voca that mature that it can accommodate all these different kinds of use cases?
Well, I want to say for sure it is, but I think, Keith, for how long do we have Voca over at the UCF campus?
They were going on year 4.
Exactly. So Dave, I think, for me, UCF is a flagship example, actually, of not even just necessarily Voca, but just the concept of why it makes sense to couple a contact center with Microsoft Teams. I mean, what we're hearing here essentially is a massive org that looks itself as a mini city, and I can definitely see why. They're already on Teams, and they have multiple contact centers. Keith mentioned more than 40. Why should those contact centers operate on a separate platform? Why should UCF IT deal with 2 separate platforms when they can couple the 2 and consolidate contact center with Microsoft Teams with all the robustness that Microsoft Teams Phone provides, right? So if your integration model as a contact center solution is strong enough, there's a really interesting opportunity for an enterprise to consolidate platform and have a better, just a more efficient way of doing voice internally and, for the contact center, for sure.
I'd like to add on to that too. Something I didn't state is I've been here, this is my 26th year at UCF. So I was here back in the days when we had old school ISDN PBXs, okay? And so when I came in here, we had 2 different PBXs. I had 3 different voicemail platforms. Don't let me explain it. It was there. And then as we were growing and trying new technologies, they were just adding to. So at one point we had 3 to 4 different phone systems. I had 3 to 4 different voicemail systems, and then I had 2 contact centers. So again, it was just me and a couple other guys supporting all this. So I never ever want to go back to those old days where I've got different products trying to support, one kind of vision. That just makes no sense. It's also extremely expensive. It's horrible. It's inefficient. It's expensive. So again, why not utilize the Microsoft network? We're already using Teams Voice and just natively integrate it into the contact center.
So I clarify that because a lot of contact center offers plug into Teams, but they're kind of separate. They're a totally separate application. They use their own PSTN. They use their own infrastructure, often cloud delivered. But your solution here with CIC is actually leveraging your Microsoft Teams infrastructure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do direct routing today at our size and our call volume. I think last year I pushed 2.1 million calls through Voca. I can't go to a plan in the cloud. And there were several companies that approached me around the time that Gideon and his team did and said, hey, you can come with us and try this solution. And then once we got down to it, they wanted to be the phone system. Understand that would take us through routing our phone lines through them, and then the contact center integrating and coming back to us here at campus. I have less transparency over what's going on my network. I don't have any control over what's happening. So it just wasn't ideal. Again, we needed something that could bring in, bolt on, and natively connect into what we had now.
Okay, so now we have to talk about the other product. We've mentioned it a few times, the Mobile Extend product from Audiocodes. Gideon, why don't you provide a brief description of what that actually does?
Well, in simple terms, I want to believe that, for sure we do, and hopefully our viewers as well, are familiar with the concept of an eSIM, right? And in simple words, Audiocodes Mobile Connect is a way to provision an eSIM with a Microsoft Teams user and have that eSIM inherit many of the benefits that a Microsoft Teams user has in their day-to-day lives. That's the high-level way that I would describe that.
Okay, so this is interesting. So this is a topic that I really enjoy. I've been writing a lot about SIM-based mobility, and just to be clear to our viewers, there's a couple different ways to do SIM-based mobility on Microsoft. The one way is Microsoft Teams Phone Mobile, which you typically get from a mobile carrier. And another way is this Mobile Extend solution. Like I call it Mobile Extend. You called it something different. Let's clarify this.
Mobile Connect, Mobile Connect.
Mobile
but
Connect.
They do sound similar, so.
Okay, all right. We got to get that right. Okay, so Mobile Connect. So Mobile Connect is basically an MVNO approach, and it will work with pretty much anywhere in the U.S. And it's not tied to just one network. It works with multiple carriers in multiple countries, and it's a pretty interesting solution. And it's great to. I want to double click on this now because what really intrigued me with this story with the University of Central Florida is how these products all strengthened each other. Because I often talk about SIM-based mobility with a UCaaS context, but you guys are using it with UCaaS and you're using it with CCaaS or contact center, I should say. And of course, the contact center we've already discussed is reinforcing your team's investment. So it seems like these things are all strengthening each other. Do you have any comment on that, Keith?
Yeah, I do. When the guys first told me about it, it was an immediate win because we have individuals who I understand there's a Teams app. We all get that. We have users that don't want Teams on their phone, and I get it. Some people feel like this is my personal phone. There's some individuals that get a stipend here, but we don't provide cell phones across the board. So there are individuals using personal cell phones, and likely so, right? And they want to stay in contact with business. Well, if I don't want to have Teams on my phone, that's fine. But maybe I want to receive a phone call. Maybe on top of that, I want to be a part-time agent and try to help out the guys who are in the office because I might be someone who's extremely mobile, or maybe I'm on the field like our facilities group. They're a perfect example. You've got people out there, working, again, working in the trades. You got either doing landscaping, or you're working construction, or they're, providing plumbing support, HVAC support. They don't want to deal with Teams on their phone and messaging, and we get all that. Maybe they just want a phone call. Maybe that's what they need. They can be reached, who can be part of a queue and have the system report back their presence through the cell network by just associating their number and their ID in the cloud. And it's all done in the cloud. I don't know how they do that magic up there, but it's done, right? So this way too, it allows the person to listen. I just need to answer calls. I don't need to message. I'm working 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I don't want to deal with the messaging while I'm out in the field. Great. I can now extend that service, the mobile connect, to their ID, associate them with a queue, and now they're just answering calls like they would with an agent. And when they're unavailable, they're unavailable. The cool thing too about an eSIM this way is that, one, I'm not having to port my number. I did approach several vendors. I won't mention who, but there are several vendors that offer that Microsoft connectivity in the cloud. You must port your number to them. I don't want to do that. I want to own my number. So with Giddy's approach, it was, here's an application, install it, associate with your Teams. We do the association in the cloud, and now your number is connected to your business number. And I can use my native dialer. I'm still dialing. I can send and receive phone calls with either my UCF line or my personal number. So again, and at the end of the day, if I don't want to be part of the queue, I can go in and turn the eSIM off. So again, it just allows me easier, quick access to becoming an agent, to turning it off and on. Again, like you're saying, on the front lines, or I'm out remote public, or maybe I'm at a site that's not great reception-wise for any, maybe there's no data, and now I'm relying on the total cell network too, which we know Teams is heavy reliant on data. So again, using the mobile connect and that whole service allows anyone that wants to be out in the field that needs to just answer phone calls, whether it's, again, business related, or again through a contact center, when in regards to whether you're part of a queue.
So Teams obviously has its own client, mobile client, and so are you not using that, or is this just one more tool in the toolbox?
I have Teams on my cell phone. I do, and that is the mobile client. And we played around with some of the Teams mobile tools, but again, having to port everything through Microsoft, that wasn't our goal. I don't want to have to. In order to use some of their mobile tools, you have to take ownership of it, is what my understanding is. So we wanted to keep ownership of our line and just kind of add an application to it that does all the association in the cloud, that it connects my mobile number with Teams. That was the biggest push, really.
And you're using this mobile capability in UC implement applications. You talked about that, but also in the contact center. Is this for more? How do you use it in the contact center?
Well, again, our different teams on campus, our athletics group can take advantage of this. Remember too, on game day, when you've got possibly over 100-some-thousand people here who need to help and answer calls, they're running around on their cell phones. They need to be part of a queue. They need to answer, ticketing questions. They can utilize this. We do have. I want to approach the nurses next. The nurses are constantly on their feet. They're constantly needing to answer phone calls. They don't need messaging. We want to keep messaging away from personal cell phones. We want to have the ability to accept calls. I want to approach our police department. Remember, police departments must be CJIS compliant. So they can't have our teams on their cell phones because we don't have a gov tenant. We have an EDU tenant. Only the gov tenant's approved for CJIS stuff. Now, we have policies in place. So again, these are all applications where it can be used. Again, like I'm saying too, people who are out away from their desk, super mobile, who don't necessarily have that laptop, they're not sitting down somewhere. They need to answer that call. They need to answer a support call. Even our service desk teams who are out now all around campus, they're part of a queue. They absolutely could take full advantage of this. So again, making everyone super mobile with their own personal devices, not adding on additional applications that are resource intensive, but sometimes a mobile app Teams can be.
So Giddy, the way you described this to me is that if you have the mobility solution, let me get the name, Mobile Connect solution, there's no app required. It's the native dialer. It's the native phone experience. So my question for Keith then is, how are you leveraging the Teams infrastructure then in this case?
Well, again, you're still using your Teams phone line. So you're still, again, people can still call you. You're associating your Teams voice infrastructure that's associating with your number. It's all done in the cloud for us. The application is installed on your client on my desktop, and that's how it's in Teams. That's where you're installing this application. And again, I don't know all the architecture behind the application itself. I'll let Giddy answer that. But I just know that once I installed it here on my client on my desktop, my laptop, and it's now associating my number in the cloud with my Teams, which I'm Teams in the cloud fully. And I have
so does this
routing.
mean that any call made on the cell phone will be logged in Teams?
It can be, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because everything that we do through Teams, it is.
And
And
you
it can also
do things like call recording and sentiment analysis?
So especially with Voca's latest feature, which is Agent Insights, absolutely. The call is being recorded. And then since it's going through the Voca, and we're using the Agent Insights with our service desk even today, which is now call recordings are not just recordings. You're now getting that breakdown, that AI summary of how was that customer handled. I want to know better how everyone felt in that. So we need to enhance our customer support and make sure that everyone we're talking to understands how we're supporting them, how we're supposed to. And this is good for training, but it's even good for our customers to have an understanding too. So they can feel that, hey, they are really just not just recording and it's recorded to being dumped. Something rich content is done with that, which is the AI summary that's being provided to leadership.
Because that's a pretty big feature, because normally when a contact center transfers a call out to maybe a remote subject matter expert, they lose that call. It's no longer being tracked or analyzed, and you're able to retain that. Yeah,
so I want people to understand there's no transfer, and I want to get away from that word. I mean, we're in the area now where everything is integrated, everything is still on network. So when I'm going from, and callers coming into our system, it's just traversing my network and going to different features and functions that we've added to the network. So the call is being transferred to the next service, but it's all on the same network. So that's what we get with direct routing.
Even if that subject matter expert is in California.
Or Hong Kong.
Or Hong Kong. All right. All right, that's pretty good. Let's see. So what about abbreviated dialing or internal dialing? Is that a feature of the cell phone?
So we can do extension dialing. I think everyone now that with Teams, you're just clicking on the person and you're clicking audio call. I can't tell you last time I dialed a number. Even on my cell phone, I mean, unless it's a number I don't have saved, I'm just going and clicking dial. I think that we've gotten so used to that now, people don't want to look up a number. I just want to find the person and click call. That again is just telling me where I'm utilizing, I don't care where you are, I'm going to call you just by clicking on your profile and calling you. Again, you could be on your cell phone. It's going to come in as a regular native call to your cell phone. I'm going to answer it, but I know based on the caller ID that it's coming from Mobile Connect. So I know how to answer it as well.
Now logistically, when you hand out a eSIM to various employees or users of the campus, is it a second SIM on their phone, or do they have two phones? There's no right answer. I'm just kind of curious what happens in practice.
It's a standard eSIM. So, anyone can have an eSIM. It's just, again, you're just adding an additional eSIM to which I have a new phone. My new phone only has an eSIM. So there's no more physical SIMs, I assume, in the world. I'm sure there's still some are, but we're now going past the SIM. So really it's just telling them to go into their phone settings, add the eSIM, add the information that we provide them, and it's just associating in the cloud with their UCF.
But what I was trying to get to in practice, do these customers of yours prefer to use their existing cell phone and have two SIMs in one phone, or do they prefer just to have separate and have two separate devices? That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Dave, that's a tough one because we have such a diverse group here. We have some people who say, no, I only want one device, and I only care about this one device. I have some people that still say, this is my UCF phone, this is my personal. So in this way, I can support both. I can put it on this phone, you can put it on that phone. And honestly, you can install it on various, but it's only going to work one place at a time. Right. But again, we do have people who want their own cell phone, and I want to have all of this stuff on this. And we do have individuals like, nope, this is my UCF provided phone. This is only for work. that's where it lives.
Now, there's obviously a cost to an eSIM. You've got to pay. It's a new cell phone activation. How does that compare? I mean, the Microsoft Teams app is free, no additional cost, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you look at that trade-off?
The trade-off is easy. We have to provide solutions to our customers' needs and wants. And sometimes there is a little bit of additional cost for things, but again, I think we're forgetting about the resiliency of utilizing the cellular networks when you need to receive that call versus just making sure that you have Wi-Fi so that the Teams call can come through a lot better. So again, I look at it as almost you've got your cellular network, you helping your Wi-Fi network as well. I mean, we get into sketchy areas sometimes, and when I say sketchy, I don't mean like that. I mean like, yeah, it's a really bad area for cell reception. So, you're definitely not going to get data through that. So, but you can get a cell call. And so it's going to push that call through to you however it can. That's my experience with it. I don't know how they do that magic in the cloud, Dave, but I get the calls a lot better on my eSIM than I would in my Teams call. Plus, remember too, we have people who state that they cannot have the Teams app on their phone. For whatever reason, that cell phone, they either can't have it, or they don't want to have it, or whatever the case may be. So I have to have a solution. Because why? I need to communicate. Communication is really important. It's not like, hey, Teams was in on my cell phone, so I'll get back to you later. No, it's I need to reach out to you. I need to connect to you. And plus, again, remember too, how's an easy way for me to connect someone to a Voca queue through their cell phone? This is the only way. I would have to have some kind of Teams app if I was trying to connect them to Voca.
Let me ask you, Keith. I think you told me before that you actually saw a positive ROI with, I guess, with phone reimbursements or whatever that was costing you before. When you went with eSIMs, it was actually saving you money somehow. Is that?
So there was a solution proposed a while back to where the whatever the stipend that you might get for a cell phone was an X number amount. The eSIM is less than that. So if you're paying for example, let's say if you were given an employee on average $30 to $40 a month, just a stipend to help out with their cell phone, you could get into products like Mobile Connect that could cut that dramatically. So why not save money across the board? Also, you're now cutting down on individuals who are saying that they have multiple cell phones because they have multiple numbers. No, you just need an eSIM.
Okay. Okay, we should wrap this up. Let me just ask you, how do the users react? There's a learning curve going on with the IT managers. When you present this to the users, do they embrace it? Are they confused by it? Or how do they react to this?
So the individuals that have it requested something like it. They're the ones who, again, you're going to have individuals always who don't accept all new technologies. We still have people who are saying, I don't log into Teams much, I don't use Teams much, and I couldn't survive without it. So the people who wanted something like Mobile Connect love it. Again, it allows them to make phone calls, receive phone calls through their UCF provided line, but on their cell phone without the need of Teams. So again, they're happy about it. There are some people who are still like, hey, it's associated with my phone. Is there something going on? Like, is it monitoring this? No, this is you still have separation. So that's where, again, I'm not porting their number off to another carrier to where the carrier is now managing everything. They maintain ownership of their personal line. I'm just adding that attribute of the UCF line to their cell phone, and it's completely manageable by them. They have full control. That's what they also love, Dave. Again, they can go into the eSIM and shut it off anytime they want. They have full control. It's still their number. They have ownership.
So Giddy, almost all the implementations I've heard about SIM-based mobility have been on the UC side. This is one of the first ones I've heard on the contact center side. It's very eye-opening for me. I'm curious how Audiocodes reacted to this, and if this has changed the way you're going to market with CIC.
Yeah, it just allows us to achieve and enable use cases that you cannot achieve without that kind of integration with the CCaaS and eSIM. So Yeah, we're really excited about it because it helps us portray a more cohesive story to our customers, and I think Keith, made a perfect, case about how useful it can be to a university like UCF. So, yeah.
Keith, I'll ask you to respond to my prediction I've made after hearing your use case and some other ones. I have said that the future of UCaaS is 10% hard phones, 10% soft phones, and 80% smartphones. How do you respond to that prediction?
I would love to see hard phones around 2%.
That's the part you went after. You went after the hard phone.
Well, as someone who's been in telecom for almost 30 years now, my new title has only been for the last almost year. Desk phones, hard phones just are not there, right? I mean, I'm sorry, Giddy. I know that Audiocodes sells desk phones, and we have over 1,200 phones on desks right now. But again, it's just a paperweight nowadays for our users because, again, is it really needed? So soft phones, extremely more valuable, right? Also, again, I can pick my own device and it can do really whatever I want to. It's super mobile. But smartphones, absolutely, because remember too, we are moving more and more into AI. I mean, it's here. People need to accept it. So again, you're going to start seeing agents helping people on their smartphones. That's coming.
Giddy, what do you think of my prediction?
I'm 100% with you, Dave. To be honest, I don't use a hard phone. I don't have one in my office. I think a good.
You make them. You sell them. You can get one. You can get a deal on one.
And that's the thing. That's exactly my point. I work with Keith quite a lot. Keith knows, like, I'm 80, 90% of the time doing work from my smartphone. So I'm very much aligned with your prediction. And I think the more we can bring those, features and experiences to the smartphone, the more we get that vision fulfilled.
Yeah, my prediction is based on a couple observations. One is hard phones are never going to go away. There's use cases in shared environments, and lots of areas need hard phones. Maybe not personal desktops, maybe not personal users, but lots of places around need hard phones. So that's the 10%. That's 10%. The other 10% is the getting this wrong, is the soft phones. Light users, occasional users. I don't travel very often, perhaps. And I just when I'm traveling, things like that makes sense. It works, no problem there. But 80% smartphones really comes from the idea that people just love their smartphones. They are personal. They're part of their identity. They have all their information on it. We've all sat at our desk right in front of our hard phone, right in front of our soft phone, and made a call on our soft phone, on our smartphone. And so it just seems to me that now that we have the ability to bring the business infrastructure onto the smartphone more seamlessly, more intuitively, more automatically than ever before, that's just going to take off. The biggest barrier is awareness. And that's why I'm so excited to do this video with both of you, because I don't think a lot of people realize this is available. I think, there's a learning curve. But as Keith, you said it, that once people learn about it, they want it.
Yeah, it really is. And what I'll add to your smartphone prediction too is now remember, we have SBCs, right? So how does that play into it? That means all my traffic now for my UCF service is also encrypted. So you've got now added security protections on now your cell phone calls that's going through your carrier. Because if you're getting calls through my network, it's going to be over my SBC, which is encrypted data.
Yeah, no, and then Giddy, you mentioned more about I guess you both talked about the AI ability. Most people think about AI as my own stuff, my own note taking, my own tracking of the commitments I made and stuff like that. But organizationally, AI is becoming much more important, and we're seeing the enterprise AI looking at all the calls and coming up with themes and stuff. And so, yeah, there's a little bit of a privacy invasion, but it's the corporate resource, and they're using it in new ways. So that's just a learning curve and understanding how that's being used. But we're not capturing all those conversations that are occurring on private cell phones, and it's going to get to the point where, to do my job, I'm going to need to make a call on my smartphone because it needs to be logged. It needs to be tracked. We've seen that in finance, for example, where they got big fines for texting on improper channels and stuff like that. So anyway, I want to thank you both for all your time today. This has been a fantastic conversation. And Keith, it's so great to hear your success there. And I can't wait to hear what you're going to pull off with your new title. So we'll be back to you soon to find out about that. And Giddy, thank you for introducing us and delivering this capability.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. This was great. Thanks, guys.